Good evening. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I've lost a bit of my voice, so I'm going to be a little careful today, as you can probably hear. It's 12:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The date today is Thursday, March the 4th. March the 4th, 2021. This is episode 149 of MCRAE Live. I'm coming to you live from the VoiceMann Studios in Toronto, Canada. And today on the show, I'm Marty McFly today. Today on the show, I have two special guests, Marian Sing and Stacy Langenkamp, who are here to talk about their new upcoming horror film, which is currently in the Indiegogo stage. It's being crowdfunded on Indiegogo, and it is called The People in the Trees. And Marion and I, this was a movie that I was going to be a part of. Unfortunately, I couldn't because of the pandemic and all that kind of jazz and shit that's going down right now. But they are moving ahead with it. They are pushing forward, trying to get this thing made, and it's an interesting concept, and I find it interesting. It's, you know, I was saying to them before we went live here that on paper, at face value, it's not necessarily the type of movie that I might naturally gravitate towards. But after reading about it and hearing them talk about it, hearing Marion talk about it, I'm like, yeah, this is really interesting. I think there's a lot of potential here. Certainly, it's kind of nichey. There are certain people that are really going to love this kind of stuff. But I find it really interesting, and I wanted to bring them on and have them talk about it. It's been, 2 years since I've talked to Marian Sing. Marian, of course, was in Halloween 2018. She's had a career doing stunts in films. And Stacy, of course, is the writer and director of this new film they are crowdfunding. So I wanted to bring them on and talk about it and let you guys hear about it and see what you guys think and whether you guys want to support them through Indiegogo or not. Here they are, Marian Sing, Stacy Langenkamp. How are you doing?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for such an awesome intro. Oh my gosh. I got a lot to, no pressure.
No pressure now. No pressure, Marian.
I'm not the writer.
Oh, you're not the writer. You're not the writer. What the hell are you then? No, I'm just kidding. You're the director.
Yes. Director.
Okay. You're the director. Right. Well, we have the director.
Eric Dixon is the writer.
I'm sorry?
Eric Dixon is the writer.
Eric Dixon is the writer. Okay, well, let's start here. I'm going to read a synopsis from IMDb, and this is what it says. This is what hooked me, for me anyway. And I told you before we went live, it was the last part of that line that sort of got me. So here's a synopsis for The People in the Trees. 4 graduate film students join aging B-movie actress Kim Stiles, as they venture into the woods to shoot their micro-budget thesis film. The plan was simple: scout some locations, find inspiration, shoot the movie. By morning, only one of them will be left alive. And this is what did it for me. And their masterpiece will be complete. That's what hooked me. I'm like, oh, ooh. It's what got me. So, Marian, Stacy, tell me, The People in the Trees, how did this come about? What is, without giving spoilers, of course, The People in the Trees? I'll leave it up to you guys which one you want to start with.
Well, Marian, you're in charge of the people, so I'll let you give what you've gotten so far. You're writing right now, so.
Yeah, I am doing, I read the script myself, and I saw a whole other angle of opportunity when it came to the people. When you think about the people in the trees, I just took it in a whole other direction, and I did a rewrite on certain aspects of the film. And when I've known Stacy for a long time. I mean, I've known him since we did that interview for Halloween 2018, and I did other podcasts and I did some other interviews. Right. And Stacy said, I would really like to work with you one day. And I was like, yeah, sure. Oh my gosh, sure. And he contacted me, and said, well, we started a production company and we want you to be in on it with us. I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, okay. So they sent me the script, and I really liked the rapport of the film crew. I thought that their conversational part, in the script, it was just really real, and it felt like it was fun, and in ways it was sincere, and it's hard to find dialogue that feels sincere. Sometimes it feels forced. Sometimes it feels like, oh no, what are we going to do now? It really gets, it feels canned very easily.
It's that combination between you want to show, not tell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought when things start to go down, that the way that the people were being represented was interesting, but it could have been so much more interesting.
Right.
So I decided to create this race of people and all of the things that happened in the society thereof, but it has nothing to do with this particular film on the surface. It's kind of just, I wanted it to be deeper so that it would have a backstory, so that the people would be significantly represented in the actors' minds when it got time to do this thing.
Right.
So that they knew that they were truly and honestly had no chance of survival, except on very few circumstances.
So what you're saying is that when you got the script, there's a lot of characters and a lot of the backstory wasn't there before you got your hands on it.
Correct.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So when I started delving into it, I thought, you know what? This needs to be big. This needs to be bigger than it is, as far as, I didn't want it to just be a bunch of people living in the trees like Swiss Family Robinson that were dirty homeless people.
Like The Hills Have Eyes or something like that. Right?
Yeah,
like,
that was
something
not where we were going.
Right. Not that there's anything wrong with The Hills Have Eyes, but it's sort of like, it's a great film, but it's a little more pedestrian, say, than what you were going for.
Yeah. And I think Stacy and I were in the same thought process of making it going back to the theater of the mind, as you talk about, Dave. The
Yes,
theater of the mind. We wanted to create a film like that. Because, with special effects and CG, you can get inside the body if you want to. Bring the corpses over here. We haven't seen enough blood.
Right.
You can go as far into that as you want, but there are not many films out there right now where you scare yourself half to death before you see anything. Just like Halloween 1970. Come on. The original Halloween was truly the slow boil, the suspense, what we're missing in film today. And we want to bring that back.
Okay. Fascinating. Well, you've got me on that alone, and you know me. I'm somebody, as you said, that is all about that, and that, because I truly believe that if you are, and that doesn't mean that everybody, at some point in the movie, of course, and some point in a story, there has to be payoff. And that doesn't mean that everybody's going to like the payoff, but hopefully people enjoy the journey to that moment, and hopefully people do enjoy the payoff. But yeah, to scare people in their minds before you show them on screen seems to be a lost art, and there's a variety of reasons for that. It's just, we're often too desensitized now, and we need things, in our face all the time. So I like that you're saying that. I like that you're going back to that more nuanced approach. Stacy, how did this come about with you? Talk to me, take me back and tell me about the people in the trees, how this project came to be for you.
Actually, Braden Lee, he is our colleague. He actually co-owns the company with us. He and I are the ones who began our company at production. And we actually met because we were working on a film before this that neither one of us ended up doing schedules, and we ended up having to leave the production. But we just, we said we want to do something. And
Stacy, sorry to interrupt. Do you have anything over your mic at all, or can you bring the mic closer to you, perhaps?
How's this?
That might be a bit better.
So anyway, he and I decided we wanted to film something. We wanted to make something, because we became such good friends during the production of that film that we were working on. So we decided to put this production company together, and actually the whole people in the trees came up later. We actually started discussing the possibility of a different film. And even when I reached out to Derry, our film that we were going to do was a whole completely different thing. And then we decided that maybe we should start smaller. And there's a website. I can't remember the name of the website, but Braden Fund is where people can go on and post their scripts and stuff and see if it catches the eye of anybody.
Very cool.
Braden found people in the city, and he sent it to me, along with a group of other scripts too, but that was really the best one. And then we agreed that that's the one we'd like to do, and we reached out to Eric Dixon, who was the writer, and went from there.
Fascinating.
And here we are.
And here you are. So this wasn't even, what I find interesting about this is that it wasn't even, it's not, again, you weren't the writer. It's not a project that you specifically were writing or creating from inception. It's something that you found because you were looking for projects that interested you to try and, I want to look for something that interests me as a director, as a filmmaker, and that I want to create and I want to make, I want to direct, I want to get behind the camera, I want to do this. And you discovered it. And you were like, you know what, that really interests me. I want to do this. That's fascinating. I was under the impression that you were, and to be fair, it's my own ignorance. I was under the impression that you were sort of part of the creation of this, not necessarily just the director. But that's interesting. That's really interesting and very, very cool. So, okay, interesting.
Well, I'm kind of part of the creation now. We got Marion's doing some rewrites right now to really kind of expand on people.
Right.
And so we're all, we all talk among ourselves.
Yes.
Ideas by us. And then, we're kind of letting the actors kind of take control a little bit of their characters. Like, we've changed character names. Marion can explain that whole process.
Very cool.
So we're giving everybody a little kind of.
Yeah, because now that you're attached, you're in a position where, because things are changing, you're moving through that development process further, and you're more hands-on in the creative aspect than you were prior to just getting your hands on it for the first time. I understand that. I think that's really cool. And this is a new production company that you've begun yourself, right? It's your own. So that's really cool. Now, will this be the first project that will be under your company?
Yes.
Very, very cool. So debut. I like it. So Marion, tell me about this cast that is on board, and because I think it's pretty cool. Tell me more about the cast and how everybody sort of came together in this regard.
Well, I really like to think of it as kind of a horror actors reunion of sorts. We're all coming together from different horror movies that we've been in, and we wanted to kind of make it into our own little project. It's kind of like a thing where, Jenna Cannell, I work with her a lot. I've worked with her on music videos. I've worked with her on a lot of different projects. And when she was in Bye Bye Man and Terrifier, I thought, hey, we can do horror stuff together. Yay. So we decided to invite Jenna, and she's the first person I thought of when it was one of the girls in the film crew, one of the lovely ladies in the film crew. And she's witty, she's smart alecky, she's very, and she's just out there on her eccentricity and a little quirky. And the first person I thought of was Jenna. I mean, I was like, okay, this is it. I got to contact Jenna, see what she thinks, see if she's into it.
Right.
And she was interested. I think that it was so important to be able to invite her. And then it just started going off from there. And we started hearing from people who were interested in being in it. Stacy has some interesting stories about other people that have joined the cast and how they wound up with us. But Jenna was kind of, I had it from the minute I read the script. I thought, that's Jenna. We have to get her. She would be perfect for it. And I really think she is perfect for it now that I have seen what she can do with things like this kind of project and this kind of dialogue.
Right.
When we did the These Days video, we did a ton of improv as the family fighting around the dinner table. And it was just
awesome music video, by the way.
Oh, thank you. We went through a wall together in a fight. It was great.
Right.
But that video showed me what I needed to see about her acting chops, her improv chops,
Right.
and how she can just take a concept and run with it. So it had to be Jenna for me. And yeah, it just had to be. Sorry.
No, I get it.
She's
I
really
get
good.
it. I get it. You know, when you read a script and you have somebody in mind, and it can be very difficult to associate anybody else with that role when you are so locked in. Yeah, no, I get it. I totally get it. Stacy, before we go further, is there any way that you can change microphones, or do you have is there another thing you could do perhaps, just because you...
Let me try.
Okay, because we can hear you a little bit, and then it gets a little dodgy, a bit choppy. And I just want to make sure that we're getting the best possible audio possible. We'll do the best we can.
I think the noise gate is killing us. His noise gate must be killing us.
How's that? Is that better?
Let's see. Just
and scoot over a little bit into frame. You're not in frame, dude.
Yeah. Come on, director. More to your right. More to your right.
Move to your right.
There we go. There we go. That's better. That's better. Sorry. Talk for me.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
It's not the best audio quality, but certainly you're not breaking up. So let's try that.
Okay.
That it can certainly hear you a lot better. So we'll try that. So Stacy, tell me more about the other actors that have come on board and these stories that Marion alludes to and how it came to be.
Well, I wouldn't say stories.
Okay, well, anecdotes.
So Kathy Podwell was actually the first to sign on. I met Kathy back over the summer. That previous film that I was telling you about that I was working on, she ended up doing the film, but that's how we met.
Very cool.
And, you know, we kind of hooked up after that. And so as soon as I read the script, the first person that came to mind for the part of Kim, it was Kathy. Just like in my head, I could just picture Kathy doing it. And so I reached out to her and sent her the script, and literally like the same night, she texted back and said, I really love the script. I love the character. She loves the type of film that it's going to be. And she was like, I want to do it. And so she jumped on pretty quick.
Awesome.
Let me see. So Justin Hall, he was in Jeepers Creepers 3. I met him and his mother during that production. And so his mother and I, we kind of had this deal where, you know, if something comes up for each other, like she includes me or I'll try and include her son. And just really the description of the character, like if you were to read the character descriptions and you look at him, it was perfect.
Right.
So that there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to get him to do that part. And like I said, sent the script to him same day.
Right.
Seems to be a trend. Same day, people come back the same day and say, oh, we're going to do it. And, who else? So I don't want to say confirm, but Camille Keaton is in talk.
Okay. All right. Now, for those of you that may not be aware of the names, give us a bit of some of the projects that the cast has, been a part of.
Oh, so Kathy Podwell, that's Night of the Demon. She was on Dallas. She did this crazy, cheeky little 90s TV movie called Earth Angel that I tease her about all the time because I love that movie and she hates it. And then Camille, you know, I Spit on Your Grave, and Justin did Jeepers Creepers 3. He's done a couple other indie films too, but Jeepers Creepers 3 is what he's known for at the moment.
Right.
He's also the son of fashion designer Sherry Hill.
Okay.
Or grandson.
Grandson. Okay.
Who else?
Who else, Marion?
About Jenna. Who else is in the cast?
Well, I mean, we've got our new cue ball, who's not cue ball anymore. We've got Cody Alexander.
Right.
He is he's a pro wrestler, I think. Well, he's a sub pro wrestler, but got a really great.
Cue ball was the one you offered me.
Yes.
Right? Okay, it was cue ball.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Yes. Now cue ball's name has changed.
Right.
Because I wanted to take a more proactive part in the creation of the names based on who the actors were going to be.
Right.
So I would ask the actors, you know, if you could do this, what would you be? If you would be that, what would you be? What's your upbringing? What's your heritage? Are you Norse? Are you German? Are you Spanish? Right. What are you? And then based on that, I created the character names. out of
okay.
myth and legend, so that it would be more applicable to what they would be.
Right.
So he has changed. His character name has changed, so it's no longer Cue Ball. Mine has not. My name is still Mohawk.
I love it. I love the name Mohawk.
Thank you. I'm going to do 3 buns down my head to make a mohawk.
That's good. I like that.
I'm not shaving my head either.
No,
you know what I'm saying? but yeah, we have our IMDb is up, so you can see all of the characters, where they came from, what they've done,
Yes,
and all of that. And we have some really good talent that I think will take these parts and turn them into something more, a little bit deeper, because they'll be able to incorporate parts of themselves into it. And as you know, I mean, to being able to be more yourself and not having to twist and morph yourself to become something else is really what allows you to shine as an actor, I think.
Correct.
Because not everybody can wallow around inside of a role that they can't relate to.
Correct. I'm just putting the IMDb in the chat room for everybody.
Awesome.
There we go. So if anybody wants to check out the People in the Trees IMDb page, it is there for you guys to check out. And then, of course, I will also put a link to their Indiegogo campaign. Let me do that now. Put that into the chat room right there. This is Indiegogo. Okay, there we go. There's their Indiegogo campaign. Remember, every little bit helps. Every little bit
That's
helps.
right.
So check out our Twitter. We have a contest going on Twitter right now.
Oh, you have a Twitter on contest. What is the contest, Stacy?
Marion, do you want to? Do you want to explain what the contest is? I know it requires me to write a note to somebody. I know that it requires me to write a handwritten note. I know that.
Okay. The Twitter contest is to tag People in the Trees in your comments. And depending on how many entries you have, you could be chosen to get a signed script or a signed photo of the cast, or, any kind of announcements from the cast, a shout out or something like that, should you be the one who is does the most to wave the flag for the people in the trees.
Right. Okay, cool. Very cool. We
also have an Instagram. We've got, a Facebook page. We have everything.
You got it all.
Facebook group. We have a Facebook page and a group.
Yep.
Wonderful. You got like a Coke line and a Pepsi line, and they have like little McDonald's Happy Meal toys.
Collect all 13.
All 13. What can you tell me about the story beyond what I read, which I will read again here on IMDb? I love this. This is their synopsis. 4 graduate film students joining aging B-movie actress Kim Stiles as they venture into the woods to shoot their micro-budget thesis film. The plan was simple: scout some locations, find inspiration, shoot the movie. By morning, only one of them will be left, and their masterpiece will be complete. I just find this really interesting. What can you tell me beyond that about the story, about the tree people, about certain things that you sent me, Marion, because about 2 or 3 weeks ago, you sent me some interesting stuff. But at the same time, I don't know if that's stuff that is really supposed to be out there in the public. What can you tell me about certain things to kind of beyond what I read there to whet people's appetite? Okay.
The main taglines to the film on our posters are, "We have always been here." And "Death is part of existence. The forest is calling you." So those are the taglines. Yes.
Those are the taglines. Okay.
I love them.
Now, one thing is, through myth and legend, we've been seeing the tree people. We've seen these people all throughout, from cave drawings to ancient Greece and Rome, around the world. We can't explain them, so we try to figure out who they are.
Right.
Centaur, Pan, the foo dogs of China, the Mothman, Bigfoot. We can't, we don't know, but really it wasn't those things. It was the tree people in their familiar form. Every person that is this is a race of energetic beings who can travel, so there is no safety, there is no escape. They travel using the root systems of the trees like subways. So you can
That's
run all you want and they will show up right behind you. Once you go into the forest, you're in their patch and they will find you.
Now keep in mind, this is a horror movie, correct?
This is a horror movie. Yes.
This is a horror movie, folks. This is a horror. What subgenre of the horror genre would you classify this? Is it a mixture of a few things? Is it supernatural horror? Is it slasher horror? Is it a little bit of this, a little bit of that?
Stacy?
I mean, I'd give it a little supernatural horror. It's almost like it's kind of a mix between where if there was something in between thriller and horror, is how I view it.
Okay, thriller and
there
horror.
are supernatural aspects to the story and to the people.
Right, but blood will rain down, though, I'm assuming.
Yes. There is no escape. There is no negotiation. There is no escape, and there is no bargaining. There is no manipulation, because the people really don't give a crap about the humans. They only serve one purpose.
You know, I know that to those people that are watching, or to those that are watching live, we have over 70 people in here at the moment. I know that there are that this, and like I said at the top of the show, at face value, this isn't something that I would, at face value, without knowing any details, it's not something that I naturally would gravitate towards. And I think that's not, I think that is because I, along with all of us, tend to fall into a lot of pedestrian sort of stories. And archetypal narratives and characters, and this, when you sent me all that stuff, and I was listening to you talk and watching the interview that you had and all this, I'm sitting there and thinking to myself, I'm glad there are people that are doing things like this, because it's different, and it's I don't know, it's different, and it's needed, if I say that, because we have, 50,000, not that there's anything wrong with it, and there will always be room there, but everybody's doing the prototypal slasher, and this is different, and it can be different. That can be to the detriment, that can be to the success, that can be in between. But I like that you're taking this risk, and I like that it was a script that Stacy wanted to take a risk on, and whatnot, because it's the concept's interesting to me. Like, again, at face value, you might sit there and go, wait a minute, so there's people and the roots and the trees, but that's creepy, man. That's creepy, and it's all in the execution, and and it's a horror film, and that's like, it's like The Hills Have Eyes, but on roids or something. You know what I mean? With a different kind of.
It's kind of like supercharged, because that it doesn't matter where you go. Once you hit the woods, you are exposed and you will be found, and no matter where you go, they will be on you. They will know where you are. They have found you, and you may not make it through the night. Right. There are very few that make it once they find you. Right, and
which is what the synopsis says. I mean, it says right here, 4 graduate film students join aging B movie actress Kim Stiles, I love that, as they venture into the woods to shoot their micro-budget thesis film. Now, can you tell me, maybe it's a spoiler, you don't have to, but what is their micro-budget thesis film about? Or is it, because I don't know if it's something you can say, because the plan is simple: scout some locations, find inspiration, shoot the movie. But by morning, only one of them will be alive, and their masterpiece will be complete. But I assume the irony of it is that it's not the movie they intended to go out and shoot.
Correct. Right. So basically,
but I don't want you to get any spoilers.
Right.
So I have a big mouth, so I let Marion explain.
That's right. So basically, once this film crew goes into the woods, they're enjoying their time. They're joshing around. They're having a good time. They're doing all kinds of shenanigans and talking about malarkey. And I'm kidding. But we don't use words like that. Right. But they are scoping out this location of this cabin, and they start to have issues as the night goes on. The night gets long, and the night gets very terrifying. Right. And it builds and it builds and it builds. And once they realize that there's something more that is tracking them than they realize. They start to get the fact that this is it, folks. It gets to the point where they know they ain't going to make it.
Right.
But the footage that they get as they're scoping out these locations is the only proof the next day of what happened to them. So it brings in a kind of aspect of, this is now on the cloud. Are the people exposed? Have they been found?
Right.
And it's the only documentation of what happens to this small little film crew that just stumbled upon something they had no idea what they were getting themselves into.
Fascinating.
Because all they wanted to do was make their movie. And they were going to bring this girl's film career back. She had already done other films, and it was that's why she jumped at the role.
Right.
He was like, hey, I can do this cruise. They're in film school. We might wind up in film festivals, and this is going to be great for my career. And she was just doing it to reinvigorate her career.
Right.
So she gets stuck in this. Everybody gets swept up in it, and the clock starts ticking down on their lives.
Right. Interesting. And what makes, and again, if it's a spoiler, you don't have to say anything, but what I naturally think about after that is like, wow, so what does that I mean, that this is just the beginning. It's kind of like, what are the ramifications after that? The footage is found, or it's uploaded to the cloud, or it's uploaded to YouTube or wherever. And then it's like, do people believe it? And if they do, what does that mean then? What are the consequences? How the people in the trees, are they in every tree? Are they in every woods? Are they all over the world? I mean, how saturated, what does this mean? Is there, it's almost like it's kind of creepy. It's almost like there's like an apocalyptic sort of, there's these other beings, this other race that are, well, like you said, have always been there in the trees, and you discover like it's always almost like it's another dimension within our dimension. Like it's fascinating.
Exactly.
I started to think, what does it mean?
Yeah. And that's what brings the supernatural to this.
Right.
You can kind of mistake them for vampires kind of deal, but they aren't, because they feed on energy instead of fluids. But there are other people.
Right.
Maybe not in the trees, in the oceans.
Right.
Everywhere you go, there are these beings that are different tribes of this same race, but they don't show up in this film, but they exist.
Right.
There's the ocean folk, there's the tree folk, there's the Arctic scrub, there's the desert. So if you go into places that are not designated for humans to go, then they will find you. They, quote unquote, whichever tribe it may be, they will find you. So if this footage, as they're filming it, when you film something on your phone, it goes to your backup. It goes to your cloud, right? Mm-hmm. So as this stuff is being filmed, is the Mothman real? Was Bigfoot? Did they really see Bigfoot? Did they really see the Mothman?
Right.
Did they really, what did they really see? Did they see ghosts? Did they see spirits? Did they see orbs? Or did they really see the people in commute when they're on their way somewhere?
Fascinating.
Trying to blend in.
And there's
not trying to blend in.
Yeah, or not trying to blend in. And then that makes me wonder about and again, I don't expect you to tell me right now, but as an audience member, it makes me wonder about the mythology, with these people and their backstory and why they're here and what are they doing here and are they here for evil intentions or not, or are they because they've been living in harmony for so what is it all about? And of course there's a certain level, as you know, of mystique and ambiguity that I like to remain in those types of things, but this is the kind of story though where it does allow you to open things up a little bit, and discover that. But maybe we won't find that out in this one. Maybe well, like you said, maybe there's a whole series here or something. These would make a great series of books too, I think.
Yes. The way I saw it, it wouldn't let me stop writing. I had to keep making it deeper and deeper and go into then the hierarchy of the people. What are their levels of living? And when you're a citizen, or what if you're one of the members of the guard? And what if you're on the council, or it goes higher up? But that is, this film won't go that far, but that far exists.
Right.
And you'll be able to feel it by the interactions of the people when you see them in their scenes. They will refer to other things and other areas of their society. But the humans are basically cattle. They're to be screened to see if they are valuable to the people at all. And if they are not, stabby, stabby, death kill.
You know,
Sorry.
I always say Marion's going to have like the next 6 sequels written before we even film the first one.
Yep.
That's amazing, though. I love that your mind works that way, and I love that you're very passionate about that kind of thing. I think that's so cool. You know, it makes me also, but for this story, it makes me think of alien abductions, and like,
Yes.
are alien abductions actually the product of these group of people? And
I mean, think about 400,000 people in this country, in the United States. Sorry, I don't know about Canada, but 400.
That's okay. That's all right. That's all right. It's okay. It's pretty much the same thing anyway.
But 400,000, 400,000 people go missing in this country, never to be heard from again.
Right.
Usually it's in the homeless population.
Is that every year?
Every year.
Oh, man. 400.
I mean, think about that. What are they being sold into trafficking? Are they being sold into what? I mean, or are they being fed upon by these other races of beings? We're an energetic race, but think about the vampires. They drink blood. I mean, think about,
I don't mean to and I say this with, not to you guys, I say this in general with the utmost respect to the family that this happened to. So I don't mean to trivialize what has happened, because obviously we're talking about fiction and this is real, what I'm about to say. But the idea is that I don't know if you've ever heard of the case of Maura Murray. She disappeared. It's a very famous case, and she disappeared in 2004. She was 21 years old, and she disappeared. Her car sort of crashed on the side of the road in a rural area. People went by. It's like 7:30 at night. It's dark. It's February. People saw her there. She was on the side of the road, and in the blink of an eye, she was gone. Now, in reality, what happened? Well, probably somebody picked her up. You know what I mean? I mean, that's probably what happened. Somebody picked her up. It was the wrong person. Just so happened the wrong person went by at that time. And unfortunately, she's never been seen of again. And it's been a fascinating case because there's never been any sign of her, no bags, no.
And they never solved it. So.
They never solved it. They've never solved it. It's been what, since 2004? So that's what, 17 years, I guess. They've never solved it. And
that's partially what made me want to write that part in. Right. Because it links in what happens to these lost people.
Right.
There's something happens. So what's to say that, it in no way lightens what actually happens to these people.
No, exactly.
But in fiction,
that's
what's to
right.
say that they were just fodder for a treaty that was written thousands of years ago so that the people could go into these forests and parks and not be bothered.
Well,
but we have to have our quota of humans to feed upon, and no questions asked.
Well, that's it. And it's about inspiration. I mean, even Wes Craven, who wrote and directed the original A Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, was inspired by, I believe, those Cambodian teenagers or young men in the 70s that were dying in their sleep from now, obviously they weren't dying because some dream demon was killing them in their sleep. They were dying from some psychological, there was some issue that was happening that was very explainable. But he thought to himself, hey, you know what? And it's the same with this kind of thing. So that's why, but I wanted to preface my thoughts, because obviously in no way are we saying that Maura Murray was taken by the tree people. She obviously was not.
Right.
But it's fascinating.
Think about the plagues of Egypt.
Right.
They determined that because the eldest son or the firstborn gets the first choice of food, that the grain they were taking out of the vessels had a mold in it that didn't affect the rest of the family because the firstborn ate first and got the first grain off the top.
Right.
So the firstborn of the families died, and they thought that it was a plague that was a biblical plague that was sent on the people.
Right.
It was actually due to a mold, a lethal mold that was growing in the food supply that only the firstborns got exposed to first. So
right, yeah.
I watch National Geographic a lot.
but it's interesting though. Like there's so many different, artists and writers, and you can be inspired by a lot of things to put your own sort of fictional twist and spin on it for entertainment. And I think it's a really, really cool idea. Stacy, how do you feel as a director? How do you feel? What is your approach going to be approaching this project? Now, again, without giving any spoilers away, but your mindset as a creator, as a filmmaker, as a director, how are you approaching this project?
I'm going very John Carpenter in a way. I'm taking lessons from Halloween, obviously. We're gonna rely more on lighting and color grading and versus jump scares and blood splatter. It's suspense. We want to rely on suspense a lot.
Right. Very cool. Very cool.
That was like my number one rule is I don't want this to be a bloody mess. That was my first rule. I don't need this blood in your face. I don't need a bunch of jump scares in your face.
Right.
I want to rely on suspense and lighting and
right.
And torment.
Yeah.
Torment.
Yes.
Now
there will be much torment.
There'll be much. I like that. Now, do you have a contingency plan in place? Again, you don't have to. If it's spoiler territory, you certainly don't have to tell me. Raising money to make any movie is extraordinarily hard. We were very fortunate to do it last year for It's Me, Billy, but it's not lost on us that was not the norm. When people set out to do these things, sometimes it can be very, very hard. Bruce and I, when we spoke as producers in the project, we said, and we talked about this long before we launched our campaign, we said, well, if we can raise a little bit, maybe we can't raise all of it. And of course, that's the goal of any campaign, is to raise all of it. But we had a contingency plan in place that if we didn't raise all of it, we would take what we did raise and shoot like a scene or shoot like a 5 minutes of the script or whatever, and use that to propel the next, like to say, hey, look what we've done here. Kind of like what we did with our Indiegogo teaser, but that was shot specifically for the Indiegogo campaign. But we would then shoot like a scene, maybe with Sam on the phone with Billy or something, you know what I mean? And shoot it as professionally as we could with the money that we raised. And then we would use that to launch another campaign, and then people go, oh, wow. Have you guys thought about anything like that? Do you have something like that in place? Is that a real possibility for you guys? Because I know people do it all the time, and we were prepared to do it. We were like all set and ready to do it. We were just fortunate that we didn't need to. But is that something that you're thinking about as well?
We actually just met up in Atlanta a couple weeks ago, the weekend before Valentine's Day, and we shot a couple things just with our phones. But we shot a couple things as our characters or the tree people, not necessarily our specific characters, but we shot some stuff that we're going to piece together for another little teaser that might hopefully draw more people in.
Okay, very cool.
And we have like incentives on our Indiegogo where you can be on set for a day, you get a script, you get, signed poster by all the people in the film.
We're giving away costumes, like character
costumes.
We're giving away Kathy Podwell's costume and Justin Hall's costume.
And you're giving it away. I was on the Indiegogo page. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. The prices are really reasonable, especially when you get to the costume giveaways. I'm like, oh, I thought it was going to be like expensive, but that's relative, obviously. But I thought it was going to be a lot more, let's just say. And it was very reasonable. I think you guys have priced your campaign really well.
Well, the thing also is, we want the horror community to feel like the family it is.
Correct.
We want people to feel like they're a part of making this with us. And we want to do a social media, even when, hopefully once we start filming, we want to do a BTS. We want to do behind the scenes on like a live, and hey, we're coming from the set today and wanted to let you, and everybody wave hi and give a shout out to so-and-so who did this or that. And we want because we know your followers, Dave McCrae channel, we watched a movie, Cody Leach, Drum Dum, all these guys, Slash and Cast, they're a family. They come around each other, they support each other. They are truly, the horror genre is a very close-knit family. At the conventions, it feels like a big family reunion. It feels like a love fest, with knives, but still.
And blood and gore.
Yeah, and blood and stuff, various
exactly.
Fluids.
Exactly.
Fluids brings it home, I think. Fluids really brings it home.
I think that's what sold everybody. Yep.
Yeah, it's the fluid. Did you know that on Alien Covenant, they went through 450 gallons of blood?
Wow. No, I did not, but now I know.
Yeah.
450 gallons of blood.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And he still kept saying, do we have any more blood? But anyway, I digress.
Right.
But yeah, that's the thing. We want this to be a little different. We want it to be like you guys helped make this. Because we're fans ourselves.
The right attitude. That's right.
If we're fans, we don't want it to be only the elite can afford to back our film. I mean,
right.
We want it to be, we're going to give you awesome stuff that we would have wanted if we could help at that level. We want to give you good stuff. And so that's where we're coming from on this. We want us to come together, try to create something new, try to create almost like a more, like I said, supernatural, slasher, horror, psychological.
It's different.
That kind of thing.
It's
just different.
Yeah. And look, I mean, what I appreciate, I think the most of what you guys are doing is that it is different and that it's bringing, raising money for a film. I mean, and if you think, raising money for a Black Christmas fan film is hard, which it was, although we did very well, of course, but it still was. Raising money for a new IP altogether is extraordinarily hard. And we live in a world where people are just obsessed with Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's one of the reasons why, if not the main reason why, we decided to do Black Christmas is because it's not saturated. Nobody's doing it. You know what I mean? And there's room to explore. And there's just everybody and their uncle. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm not attacking anybody personally. But the facts are the facts. Everybody and their uncle is doing a Halloween fan film, and some are good, some are not, some are in between. But everybody's doing it. It's saturated, and I like that people like you come to the table with it's not even, and you're not even doing a fan film. It's not even based on a pre-existing IP. It's an original project that is exciting, and that's exciting to me because, I mean, yes, we just did a Black Christmas fan film, but at the end of the day, every creator, every director, every artist eventually wants to do something original, something of their own. I have a feature-length script that I wrote called Port Robinson Road that's been in development hell for 20 years or whatever. But I mean, but that's my baby feature, personal, original thing. And everybody's got one, whether you've got it down or in the back of your head or an idea or on paper or whatever it is, everybody's got it. And to see that something like I support it big time because we need more originality. We need more ideas and not everything's going to be successful. I mean, some things are, some things aren't. That's just the nature of the game. But the fact that you didn't say, hey, let's do this and let's do something original, it takes guts. It takes guts. It's not easy.
Well, and just the fact that when we get down to it, we need some new villains. We need something new to be afraid of.
I agree with that.
That's not a virus. Thank you.
Right.
But I mean, if you think about it, do you like going to the woods? Are you a hiker? Are you a camper? Right. Do you enjoy being there? Just can't keep yourself away from the woods for some reason?
Gives never hike alone a whole new meaning.
Yeah. Maybe there's a reason why you can't stay away from the woods.
Maybe.
There are certain people that may just have a reason to go there that they can't explain, and they feel drawn, like you feel drawn to the ocean. I gotta get to the beach. But what? I don't know.
Why are people one with nature? What does that mean?
Death is a part of existence. The forest is calling you. Yeah.
There's a new subtitle right there. One with nature. Oh, invoices in the mail.
Yes.
So
You might see it pop up
Producer
on a
credit.
poster.
That's fine with me. That's fine with me. One with nature. You can have it. Because it makes sense, right? Because like you just said, I mean, people go out into the forest and out for a variety of reasons to meditate, to get away, but why? Why are we drawn to the tranquility of these places? Is it because they're peaceful and we can think and hear, yeah, that's so fascinating. Are we drawn to those places to get away, or are we drawn to those places for other reasons? Like
because maybe there is a part of you that has a propensity to belong to what you have in you.
Correct. Ooh, correct. Kenny 525 in the comments just said fluids. I know it's like we're all 10 years old in there for some reason.
Why not?
That's just the way it goes. So now, is there anything else before we turn over to the chat room and then maybe take some questions from some of the viewers? Is there anything that you guys want to, any important information you want to get out there? Any things you want to say? If something comes to your mind, in a few moments, by all means, just let me know. But is there any other things that you want people to know specifically about this project? Stacy?
Nothing that's coming to mind right now that we can actually discuss.
No, I get it. Yeah.
At this point, we're still in the beginning of it, knowing that it is a concept that is new,
right?
And that there are things that this first film won't even touch,
right?
Won't even touch on, but just know that the people are relentless.
Right.
They are inescapable. If you have no purpose for them, your hours and minutes are numbered.
Right.
And that if you make it out alive, you will no longer be the person you were.
It's almost got like an Invasion of the Body Snatchers vibe.
That's what one of my friends told me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And it was a remake, of course, of the 50s film, but I love the 78 one with Donald Sutherland. Oh, it's so creepy and eerie. Such a great film. Yeah.
You will be forever changed.
You will. Ooh, there's another subtitle right there. You guys are dishing out the subtitles like crazy. You will be forever changed. Yeah. The people in the trees, you will be forever changed.
I guess we're going to have to start making character posters now so we can use all these subtitles.
You're going to have to. Yes, you're going to have to. Let's go over to the chat room and see what you guys are saying. If you have any questions for Marion or Stacy or myself in regards to the people in the trees or questions in general, we don't want to pigeonhole anybody specifically. But of course, if you have any questions about the project, now's your time to get those questions in, whatever you guys want to talk about. Evil Alex says, will it have practical effects or CGI blood?
Practical. Very practical.
Practical, baby. Practical. We're done with this.
We are going old school.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Practical. That is the way to do it. Yeah, there's something, and I don't know if it's, because I'm in my 40s or I don't know what it is, but when I watch, it's not that the effects don't look good, but when you watch an old school movie with old school practical effects, there's something that just makes you smile. It's really even if it's cheesy. Even if it's like, I can kind of tell that's fake. It's still way better than, I believe it more than I believe, what they would have done.
And the filmmakers had to work hard to do that stuff. They didn't get to just run off to a computer and just, paste it all in. They actually had to work to accomplish the effects that they did get. Yeah. And
both are hard to do, but it's different. It's just, it's a different kind of creation. The practical effects will always have a special place in my heart anyway.
Well, Jon Favreau, he likes to do things practically. He is a major fan of practical everything. If we can do it practically, because it allows you to do anything. CG allows you to do anything you can think of to do.
That's right.
So when we're doing any kind of fillet you like a fish murder, we can show it if we want.
That's right.
But do you really? I mean, come on. Is this a dissection show or are we doing a horror film? Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it. I totally get it. This question was inevitable, so we'll get it out of the way. Chester Franklin Jr. says, Marion, how does it feel about Michael Myers killing you in Halloween 2018?
Hello. An awesome Halloween 2018 fan. It was a journey. It really was, because we had to go through discovering how I was going to die horribly in rehearsals, and then also realizing what a part it would play going down in possible Halloween history, because that's what you guys, look at a synopsis of a Halloween film. What do you talk about? This murder was great. Oh my gosh, when they did this. Oh, the way they took it with the angle and the and the ah. It was just memorable.
I'm going to use that. The way they took it with the angle and the and the ah. And, oh, it was great.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. That is what a lot of these horror films come down to. Best kill, slash and cast. Thank you.
That's right.
Hey, I had to do the acceptance speech. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
But that was what it comes down to. Will it be a worthy kill? Will it turn out to be something that people will remember or even care about? Will it just be another body count? Will it be something that will be memorable, and why?
Right.
So even though, hey, Sally, the dialogue was, the dialogue was so life. Mm-hmm. The dialogue was so life, but it was to disguise the fact that this atrocity was about to happen to somebody you don't even know. This person had nothing to do with him. There was no motive. There was no plot. There was no plan. It was the next thing. In the momentum.
Lady. And what was your name again? I think your character was given a name in the book, but not in the movie.
Andrea Warner. I was Andrea Warner.
Andrea Warner.
Are you credited? Are you credited?
I'm in the book. I'm
no?
in the book. I'm in the novelized version.
Andrea Warner. You don't look like an Andrea Warner.
Hey, I guess I had something to say to Sally. But
maybe it was your sister, Sally Warner.
Yeah, but the thing is, the kids had just they're getting taken home from practice, and oh my God, really, there's a killer. And, I'd better gotten down the hatches because I just finished with my Halloween thing. The last 2 kids left. and now all of a sudden this, are you kidding? Really? So unfortunately, he's a sneaky little bastard. And he got to me before I could, batten down all the hatches. But that's the thing. Any time, any place you could be next, there doesn't need to be a reason.
Correct. So I agree with that. Cheers to that. Cheers to that. And you also, I remember when we first talked about it, you talked about how great James was in regards to going through the process and the rehearsals and the choreography of how he was going to grab you, push you down, and of course there was no blade on the. I still have some hair left.
Look, guys, I still got some hair left.
Still have hair left. Yeah, no, it's a great scene. It's a lot of people's favorite kill in the movie.
How about how you hurt your forehead?
No, honey, that's left. That's for conventions. We're talking about that in conventions. Sorry.
Okay.
It's convention speak. That's right.
I got a couple of stories that are just for conventions,
and
just so that people can hear.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nick sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you, Nick. Says, just wondering if you guys have ever seen the 1990 William Friedkin film called The Guardian. I say this because your plot sounds familiar to that film's plot. Or were you influenced by that film at all?
Never heard of it. The thing that gave me the idea for this expansion of the writing was the name, The People in the Trees.
Right.
And the fact that the way that they manifested themselves when they started to appear, that just opened the floodgates for me, and it just wouldn't let me not write about it. I had to create, after I found out, how were they first spotted by this film crew? How were they, What did they see? How did they see it? Oh my, it was just right there. And I turned around and there. Oh my God, what was that? Was it people that are just trying to scare us to make us leave? Was it just, what was this? And was it real? Or did I just see what I thought I saw?
Like imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger's Predator. And it's kind of creepy like that, where it's like there's this thing in the trees that you just don't see, but you do if you know. And how many of us are looking up? How many of us are looking up? Now, the people in the trees, obviously, that I mean, I don't know. It's not to say that your characters couldn't literally be in the branches in the trees, but obviously, it doesn't just mean that. But certainly, when you're going through, for a walk, I mean, yeah, we look up or we're in there, but how often are we doing it? I mean, we could be there's people looking at us that we would have no idea.
At night when you're walking through the woods.
Yes.
And people in the trees can come out of the tree.
Exactly.
Not just down from the top of the tree.
That's it.
Not just, up from the ground. No. They know where you're going. They would see the trajectory you're moving, and they can show up every step along the way behind any vegetation. And that could be your last breath.
Fascinating. Duke Fleed says, hey, Marion and Stacy, how long is the film going to be? Or probably hard to say because you haven't shot it yet, but I guess you could ballpark it based on the script.
The treatment so far is about 90 something pages.
I think it's like 97 pages right now.
97 pages. So it's a full length feature film.
We are in the middle of the rewrite, incorporating the people more. So, but I don't know that it would go much longer than the current length. So we might make feature length. I think we could probably shoot for feature length.
Right.
Hour 20, something like that.
Fascinating.
Hour 30.
Yep. Well, 90 something pages is roughly a 90-minute movie. Yeah. Jonathan Ball says, question, when dealing with the forest, with a forest backdrop, and for those of you who don't know, I lost a bit of my voice. When dealing with a forest backdrop, did you do your homework on outdoor survival tactics, or any consultants used, or searches, or so your scenes are realistic? I definitely love the idea. That's a really cool question.
Thank you so much for your question.
That's
the
like
answer
hard into
is,
the paint.
Yes, it is. That's a deep cut.
Yes.
But the answer is, this film crew don't know shit about the woods. This film crew doesn't know anything. They're in this crappy cabin that's been abandoned, and they thought it was going to be a place to be. Oh, we're going to go stay in a cool cabin. Well, guess what? It's not exactly what they thought it was going to be in the first place.
Yeah.
Do they know survival? Does the average human know woods survival? It's a great idea to go into if it lasted a week or a days. The average person has 2 weeks of sustenance on their body to survive on from the food in their gut and their fat stores. Okay. Right. So this takes place over, how long are you saying, Stacy? A day? 2 days?
Yeah. 2 days, maybe top. 2 days top.
Yeah.
Maybe so 3 days. I'm trying to think of when we did the read through. I was trying to get, we did our read through together. I was trying to think how many nights.
It might even just be over a night of hell.
Right.
I think it's at least one night, because I think I think we shift over to the next morning on somewhere in the middle. So yeah, I think it's 2 days at the least, I think.
Yeah. So anybody can make it for 2 days. You'll be angry, you'll be grumpy because there's no food or whatever, but it's not like there isn't running water in this cabin or anything like that. Right. I hear you. Yeah. I hear you. And I think that that's a great idea as far as survival stuff for future down the road.
Yes.
But this is a very short timeline as far as how long they have to survive in the woods. And it's not because they can't survive in the woods themselves. It's because they can't survive in what is living in the woods.
Right. Right. And again, this is not a found footage movie. So people have to remember that this is not, although it sort of sounds like it's a combination between, Blair Witch and what was the other example you used? You said Blair Witch and something or other, or maybe I read that.
You had said that
The Hills Have Eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, the hills.
Yeah. It sounds like there's sort of that Blair Witchy kind of angle to it. Where the hell did you guys go here again?
I always described it
clicking
as
everything.
Blair Witch versus like Blair Witch meets Wrong Turn. It's how I described it, I guess. In a way.
Right. But it's not a film that is like it's not a found
No.
footage movie.
No,
So-
I mean, there will be parts where people are, get that phone out of my face. What's wrong with you?
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
the film crew talking to each other. Once things start to go down,
Right.
it's
Right.
not a found footage thing. I mean, if people are using their phones as, a light source, or if they're, trying to get this documented now all of a sudden because this crap is real and only one person brought a real camera for behind the scenes footage,
Right.
then, you're going to see a little something, but it's not like, I'm dropping my, it's not like Blair Witch kind of thing.
Right.
We're going to have real red cameras. We're going to have real everything that
Yep.
we're doing.
So you're shooting on the red.
Yeah,
the
we're
plan.
shooting Red Dragon probably.
Great. That's great.
Mhm. And honestly, that's what it comes down to is the crossover of what it is. It hits several genres. It really
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Because of the supernatural bent to it. It's going to be different in that way. And it might make you think twice about going out in the woods at night.
Right.
Just saying.
Just saying. Chris Baber sends in a $4.99 super chat and says, the title has a Japan suicide forest vibe. Also, will there be a perk where a supporter can spend an hour in your Zen garden talking to the frogs, Marion?
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Oh, that
my
is
gosh,
hilarious.
that is so
It knocked
awesome.
Marion out. She's not even.
It did. It took my phone right out of my hand.
You gotta hit your video again. We can't see you.
Oh no, hold on.
That's so funny. That's true.
It
Yeah, if
is
you follow
funny.
Marion on Facebook, she did
Okay.
just finish remodeling her. It does look amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks really good.
He is so funny. He makes comments on my Facebook all the time about my progress. I did that just for you.
Yes.
But yeah, that's actually funny that you mentioned the suicide forest of Japan, isn't it, Dave?
Oh,
Have you listened to that part yet? Have you listened to that?
That's in the audio you sent me, right?
It's in the audio.
I don't think I've got to that part yet.
Okay.
But
Because
that's a creepy
people-
place.
Yeah, people go missing.
Yes.
People are found in the suicide forests of Japan.
They're
People
literally
are
found in the trees.
and think about places like Stonehenge. It has a meaning nobody understands what it's for. What's to say that those are not ley line meeting places
Right.
for these energetic races of beings, but every now and then you see an orb in a photograph, or you
Right.
see some kind of ghost go past that looks like a shadow and you don't know what it was. Well, I mean, you can't be, it's like Predator. You can see them if you know what to look for.
Right. The suicide forest in Japan is so creepy. It's so, I've never been there. Chris, I think, says he's been. I don't know if you've been. Have you been to the forest? I know, Chris, when you were in the service, I think you were stationed over there. I think at one point. I think you said that to me. But I mean, oh my God, I can't even imagine the eeriness of, because I've seen videos, because people have been there, and I've seen videos and stuff, and I know there's a movie I think that was based on it or something. I think it was called The Forest or something like that. But maybe I'm wrong. But certainly
There's
that.
there's also a forest of dolls.
Yes, I have heard that. That's
There's a
creepy.
forest of dolls.
Yes. Like I like the vibe that you're going for, and that there's this, you start to discover that there's more to possibly the mysteries of the universe, the mysteries of our certain mysteries, I guess, that people tend to glom onto, like you said, Bigfoot or Mothman, and that there may be more going on. It's not so literally supernatural, but it's more. Well, let me ask this: Are these people? And maybe this is a spoiler. Maybe you can't say anything, and that's fair. But are these people in the trees a type of human being? Are they humans? Are they
No.
or they're not?
No,
Do they look human?
they can.
They can.
They can take several forms because they're energy, so they can transmute into different forms.
Fascinating. And Chris
That's why they
said
can
he
appear
has been
and
there.
disappear. They can appear and disappear anywhere.
Right.
And it's just a matter of, what form do they want to manifest themselves into? Do they want to relate to humans? Do they want to walk among the humans? Do they have a meeting with a higher up dignitary so that we can discuss where the humans can go and be safe and where they can't?
Right. Right. And this is something that, now, obviously where they're from or why they're here, or maybe even how long they've been here, is not something you want to reveal yet, correct?
We've always been here.
Oh, they've always
Since the
been
beginning of
there.
time.
Since the beginning, since cave drawings.
Are they,
Since
maybe they're,
hieroglyphics, ancient Egypt, they've always been here.
maybe they're responsible for the human race. There's that theory that humans are actually the product of aliens, and that aliens watch
Panspermia.
us. Aliens watch
I've always-
us like
I've always
we watch
liked
an
that
ant
theory,
farm.
too.
Mhm.
I've always
Yeah,
been into that theory.
Yeah, it's called panspermia.
That's what it's called?
Yeah, of course it sounds naughty.
It's just the middle part of the word, I think. Yeah.
But yes, that life was implanted on this planet by an asteroid going by that had the amino acids necessary to cause the chain reaction that created human life. Or there's that whole spaceship landed, dropped off to people. There you go.
And who knows?
There's always that.
Who knows? I mean, I wasn't there. I don't
That's
know.
right.
I tend to lean towards evolution, but at the same time, I wasn't there.
That's
I wasn't there. I don't know. I mean, they may have dropped. They may. It is fascinating though, because there are times where, you do, like, you realize how small we are. I mean, I tell this story a lot too, and the CN Tower here in Toronto is well, it was. It's not anymore. It was the tallest building. It's a tower, but it was the tallest building in the world for 31 years, and now it's still the tallest in the Western Hemisphere. But when you go up to the main observation deck, which is about 113 stories above the ground, but I say this all the time, you can get this perspective from being in an apartment building 30 stories off the ground. Like, you don't need to go that high, but it's fascinating. I remember the last time I was up there, and I was looking down at all the people. Now I'm high. I am high up. I mean, 113 stories. I'm way up there. But I'm not like, the atmosphere is 50 CN towers or, 100 CN towers away from the ground, right? So what's interesting is that I was up there and I'm looking at the people down on the streets, and it sounds like a cliche, but it's true. That far up, they literally do look like ants. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm not even, relatively speaking, to the size of the earth and the universe, I'm not even that high up. Like, and I sit there and I think, we're nothing. We're literally nothing. We are nothing. We think but we're nothing. When I can be 30 stories up in an apartment building and look down and I can't even see any features on you. Like, we are so small, so inconsequential, so irrelevant to the big picture of Earth and space and the universe, that it is almost like us looking down at an anthill, looking at little ants. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. We are a scratch. We are a scratch on the surface of this planet. We can't even drill down deep enough to see if there is anything living under the world beneath the world is what I call it.
Yeah.
And
there's another one. Jeez, you guys are just ripping out these taglines.
But that's the thing. It shows that humans could be nothing but fodder. Humans could be nothing but something that needs to be culled and harvested from.
Right.
Because there is so much. We haven't even explored part of the ocean, let alone any place else.
We know more about space than we do our own oceans.
Exactly. So, there is so much that this can branch out into. And of course, it won't leave me alone, so I had to write it down. But yeah, so that's where we are. I mean, it is the forests. There are so many different types of vegetation. When you drive from the coast to the mountains and into the hills,
right.
There are always different types of vegetation. And you know what that means?
Yes.
There are different tribes of us.
Are either of you big fans of The Abyss? James Cameron's The Abyss?
Me.
Yeah. See, that's what brilliant movie that was, and creepy, and how far down. I mean, James Cameron now has been down to the Marianas Trench. I mean, he's actually been. I can't believe he's insane. He's insane. But in the movie, of course, this is what 88, 89. I mean, that concept and going down that deep, how dark it is. There's so. I mean, what's down there? You know, what's down there? What's living down there? And of course, you find out there's this alien that, you know, spoiler alert, but. Get over it. It's 30 years old, for God's sakes.
Think about The Thing.
Same thing. Yeah, exactly.
Think about the fog.
That's right.
Think about anything that shields you from the known.
Right.
Anything that hides the unknown is a scary thing.
Yes, especially when it's hiding almost in plain sight. You know, that's some good comparisons right there. The fog, The Thing, The Abyss. You know, even the Hills Have Eyes, maybe not quite as good of a comparison, because it seems to be, the Hills Have Eyes would be designated to like one section in some place, you know what I mean? But the people in the trees, you're talking about it's everywhere, you know, it's everywhere.
Think about the Hindu gods.
Right.
What was that? Part elephant, part what? I mean, really, that makes sense. Yeah, sure. Why did they draw it that way? Because that's what they saw. Yeah. They saw one of us and they tried to document it. Right.
Now, whereabouts are you planning or would like to shoot this movie? Have you figured out where? I mean, you're in Georgia right now, I think you said, or you're primarily, obviously they give great tax incentives too. Is that something you're thinking about, or do you have like, are you going more of the Northeast, more of that, you know what I mean? Or have you thought about that at all?
Oh, Georgia. We've chosen our locations and everything.
Okay. Well, that's good then. So you have the locations down. That's awesome. And
I mean, think about how beautiful Georgia's forests are.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
I mean, it's truly, and Atlanta is the Hollywood of the South.
Yeah. And
that's where I found my favorite place to be as far as in film. I went to Charleston to go and do Halloween, and that's what we do. We travel wherever we have to go to do the thing. But Georgia, man, all the way. I mean, it's all of my friends and my film family are in Georgia, so we can get the best DPs. We can get the best, you know, I mean, we can get everything we need through the network that we've built over years in my stunt career and my friends' careers and things like that.
It's how we did It's Me, Billy. You know, we just utilized the connections we had from working in the industry for so many years. And that's how we were. Obviously, it still takes money to do that, but which is why we had to raise the money. But once we had the budget, we were able to hire the right people and to get the right, you know, equipment. And it was my first time shooting on a cinematic camera. We shot on the Arri Mini, and with Master Prime lenses. And I mean, you know, we had a DP who's a 2-time CSC award nominee. And I mean, I was just giddy as a kid, you know, and it was great, but that takes money, you know, and it takes
does. And
resources.
You know, the scary part about real cameras.
Yeah.
The lenses are the price of a house.
Oh my God, Marion.
You know what I'm saying.
Marion.
You know what I'm saying.
Our zoom lens on It's Me, Billy was, well, let's just say it weighed nearly 30 pounds. Mm-hmm. Honest to God. And it took our second AC and our first AC. They're both like, and I'm off in the corners kind of, you know, making notes in the script, you know, and I look over and they're lifting it up like a machine gun, you know, and attaching it to the thing. And I'm standing there and I'm thinking, holy shit. Like, Jesus, it looked like the barrel of a bazooka.
Oh my God. I mean, just the different lenses, the multitude of lenses that we're going to have to use, just the cameras themselves. You mortgage the cat, okay?
Yeah, you can. The body of the Arri Mini, the body of the Arri Mini is worth like $60,000 or something like that. And that's just the body. And then you have like our entire camera package was like $500,000. Yeah. It's insane. Absolutely insane. Insane. But it's also
Thank God for rental.
Thank God for exactly. And for people who know what they're doing. because I was like, I ain't touching that. I looked through I looked through it, but I just let my camera crew deal with all of it, because the last thing I want is to be going, is to pick it up or to pick up something, and that's the last thing I want. But I learned a hell of a lot, and it was a great process, and it was great to be with people. And I'm sure you've already experienced this. Of course, it's great to be with like-minded people who want to succeed, to have a crew that wants to, that everybody wants to succeed. They all want it to be good. You know what I mean? And of course, not every film set is like that. I mean, you do get, people that are, but it's so wonderful to surround yourself with people that get it, and that are really passionate about
Halloween. Yeah, Halloween 2018 was like that, because we did not have time.
Yeah.
You go, you do the things. Next shot. That it was a laser focused vision that had to be executed in this much time.
Yeah.
It was guerrilla filmmaking.
Oh,
it really was.
Yeah.
I mean, David Gordon Green is really good at that.
Right.
But
he comes from that world. So
yeah, that's the thing. I really think that when everybody shares a common vision, there's very little you cannot accomplish.
It's true. I mean, we shot It's Me, Billy in 6 days, and the first 2 days were day shoots, and then the rest of the days were overnight shoots. So, and our crew was amazing. And did we go overtime? We did go overtime.
Always.
But everybody was like, no, it's okay. Let's do this. Let's get it. I mean, what, like another hour? Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Don't worry about it. Let's do it. And that's so, but I find that happens because you treat myself and Bruce, we're the co-directors, co-writers, co-producers. We treated with everybody with dignity and respect, and we made everybody, because we know the importance of everybody's job, and you treat your crew and your cast with dignity and respect, and you make it fun and you work hard. Everybody's going to want to work hard for you. And they're going to want to see it done the right way. And if you got, oh geez, we're on time, but we probably need about another hour, the more likely people are going to go, okay, let's do it. Don't worry about it. Let's do it, man. Like, we're in the middle of it. Let's get it. But if you treat people like shit, they're going to want to get out of there faster. And
and it's also like, you're spending more time talking about going late than we could be done.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
Exactly.
And the thing,
that's where that's where a good assistant director comes in.
Yes. Morale is everything on a set.
Yeah.
Everybody from the grips to the freaking, everybody needs to know they are part of this. And it's not just the main creators. It's everybody. Because if you aren't lit right, it's going to look like crap.
Exactly.
If you don't have a good sound guy, if you don't have a good DP, if you don't have if any of these are not all in, then it's not going to turn out the best it can. We got to be a team. 100%. Teamwork makes the dream work. I've already said that. And if you can get the right team with you, it's true. They went to the moon, for God's sake.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing what people will do when they feel appreciated. And that goes all the way down to the people that help finance the films as well, like our whole Indiegogo campaign. And you couldn't do it if it wasn't for them either. I mean, everybody's a team. There are different levels of who is where on the team, but everybody is the team. I mean, yes, I'm the co-director, co-writer, and co-producer of the film, but everybody who donated to the campaign is part of the team too. You know what I mean?
And that's why I brought that up.
Yeah,
that's why I brought that up.
Exactly.
That's why we're doing an Indiegogo.
Exactly.
Because you apply for the grants. You apply for all that stuff. Yep. But we wanted the fans to be in on it with us because we're fans too.
Exactly.
Join us.
Yeah. And then everybody gets to see what we all created.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it comes down to. When people watch the teaser for It's Me, Billy, we're like, oh my God, this looks amazing. Well, that's I mean, yeah, we made it, but that's because of you. We all did this. We all did this, and that's what's really important about it. And the people in the tree sounds like a really cool idea, a really fascinating story. I just want to take a couple more questions here as we approach end time. Why did I say end game? I haven't even seen Endgame. Anyway, let's see here. Jonathan Nichols says, born and raised in Georgia. And then Kenny525 says, but there's more oak trees and stuff in Georgia, so that will look badass. That's very cool. Evil Alex says, do you guys believe in the afterlife and ghosts? And did you have an experience in your life with it? Oh, that's a fascinating question. Well, you guys know my answer to that. What about you, Stacy and Marion?
So long story short, as a teenager, as growing up, as like anybody, you're skeptical of that stuff until something actually happens to you or something happens to somebody close to you. And so my sister used to own this house, and she would tell these stories about, she would get up in the morning, her cabinets in her kitchen would, every one of them would be open. Sometimes the refrigerator and the stove would be open, and all of a sudden you never really believe it, but it got to a point for her where she didn't want to stay there alone because her husband at the time worked third shift. And so I took it upon me to come in and stay there with her so that she wasn't by herself. And I mean, there's so many stories. Like I remember one night, her and me and one of our other sisters and a couple friends, we would have like movie nights on the weekends and stuff. And
Right.
I remember one night we're all sitting on the couch, and it was almost like somebody took like the tip of their fingers and just walked down behind us, just lightly touching the back of each of our necks.
Ooh.
I couldn't really explain it. And I remember one time taking a shower, and I got out of the shower and I could hear people talking from underneath the floor, and I'm thinking, well, there couldn't be anybody down there because she doesn't have a basement.
Right.
And the creepiest thing that happened to her was she was home alone one night, and she had already gone to bed.
Could you scoot just a little bit to your right?
Oh, yep, sorry.
There we go. Now you're on. Now we can see your lovely face. Okay, go ahead.
So she went to bed. She was home alone, went to bed one night. She'd already fallen asleep. She woke up to, I'll say what she thought was her boyfriend getting in bed with her. And she had a water bed at the time. So you know how you always know when somebody's getting in that.
Yep.
So she turned around, and she thought she was going to put her arm around her husband, and there was nothing there, but she swears she could still see the imprint of somebody on the bed. And she got up that night, and I was living at my parents' at the time. I was only about 16 at the time. And she came to my parents that night. The next day, we all went down to her house and tried to pack it up as much as we can. And she bulldozed the house.
Wow.
She wouldn't sell the house. She won't even sell the property. She owns the property to this day.
Wow. Fascinating. Those are some pretty cool experiences. That's now the one where you felt sort of across your back along the edge of the couch or whatever. Did that go across everybody that was sitting on the couch? Did everybody feel it?
It was just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like somebody just took their hand and just walked right down the line, just lightly.
Did you look to investigate? Was there a cat that walked by? Or
nope.
No?
She had no animals, no nothing.
Okay. All right.
We all accused each other, but there was those other things that happened there that just couldn't explain. So
I got you.
That kind of turned me into a believer, and I could see the fear in my sister that I don't think that she was making it up, the whole getting in the bed thing, which is what cost her. I mean, that was her first house. She was so proud of it, and she just tore it down and moved, and she won't even sell the property. So it's not like she was trying to get any sort of money out of it. To this day, she owns the property and will not sell it and will not build on it.
Wow, that's so interesting. Wow, and will not build on it, not sell it. That could be a movie. That could be a movie right there. Marion, what about you?
Okay, I have, as some of my friends on Facebook know, I have a historic home. My house was built in 1882. Oh,
I love it.
And it is haunted by friendly things.
Right.
Friendly things. I did a video walkthrough of my house one time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I played back the footage, there are orbs everywhere in this dang house. And it's not dust, and it's not, it's, and my camera, you know how autofocus, how your camera will autofocus?
Yes.
And I filmed some of it on a tripod with autofocus, and it kept focusing on other things besides me. So it's like, okay, me again, focus over here. But that was kind of cool. But if I'm watching TV and if I have the door open, then I can see stuff going by the doorway, out the corner of my eye. So that's pretty cool. But the most recent and the most awesome thing that has happened to me. Well, I have the scary parts. I have some things to tell you about. Okay, so when I was redoing my house, I did the tile myself. I had friends do the cuts around the edges, but I laid the tile and I did the grout, and I was crying, laying on my side, wiping all the residue, and it was everything.
Right.
So it was the middle of the night, and you know when a tile is half on, half off, dink, when you walk on and off of it?
Yep.
Makes that sound?
Yep.
3:47 in the morning, dink.
Do you have any animals, any pets?
I ain't got nothing.
Wow.
I turned on every light in the house. I grabbed every weapon on the way.
For those you don't know, Marion has an arsenal of sharp things in her place. So look out.
Yes, I do. I do. I've been practicing martial arts for 25 years, and I have all my bladed weapons leaning against every corner in my rooms. Okay.
Okay.
Because a weapon rack just seemed too cliche.
Right.
So I go into my kitchen. I walk across the tile. Dink. It had to be one hell of a heavy rat if it's going to do that to the dang tile. So I go through every room, turn on every light. Nothing. Okay. Next thing. You know how when a door is closed and you push it further and then it settles back?
Yes.
Okay. 2:47 in the morning. My bedroom door.
Ooh.
I got every day. I had a weapon in my room. I turned on every light. I walked through the whole house. There was still nobody there.
Are you sure there isn't a draft that maybe comes through the house?
No. My house has been redone. It's been redone from the inside out.
Okay. All right.
So I've got brand new plumbing, wiring, drywall throughout. Everything is brand new. I just now got siding this past, and new windows now. So no. But so anyway.
Boy, about a Hunahay right there.
Yeah, to the cool thing. I make up words. It's a fun thing.
It's good. It's good. I like it.
Hunda heda hoda. Humbada hunda heda hoda.
Humbada humbada hunda. Jackie Wishi. Go ahead.
So, the coolest thing, my dad passed a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Not cool. That's not cool.
No, that's not cool.
But he died at 3:32 in the morning.
Okay.
I got the text from Mom. 6:45, I'm dreaming. There's my dad. He's thinner, doesn't have glasses on. And I see him in the doorway. And I said, "Are you good?" And, I don't know if everybody's dad does this, but my dad gave me the dad smirk. Yeah, okay. And I went to hug him and I went through him and I woke up.
Wow. Very
I know
interesting.
He's okay. I know he's fine. I know he's good because he told me he was good.
That's fascinating. So
3 hours. They say 3.5 hours is the time it takes the soul to leave the body.
No,
did you know that?
No, I did not know that. I didn't know it was down to I didn't know it was down to a specific time. Yep. Fascinating. Interesting. That's really cool. That I'm very fascinated, as a lot of my viewers know, with this subject. I mean, the feature length script that I wrote deals with all that. It talks about it's a narrative based on a paranormal experience that I had and a bunch of us had during our second year of college. Back back in the year, but it was cool and it was a cool experience, and I always thought it would make a great film, but it has horror elements, but it's more of a horror drama, thriller drama suspense. I mean, it's not like a slasher movie or a Paranormal Activity or anything like that. It really does dive more into there's the horror side of it, or the supernatural-ish side of it, but then it dives deeper into a more of a cerebral, philosophical film about where does the seat of consciousness lie, and if we can discover where the seat of consciousness lies, that might be the window to whether or not there is some form of quote unquote life after death. We know that consciousness, because ideally it all comes down to that. We know through people who have near-death experiences and people who have been clinically dead and have heard things, we know that consciousness, there's at least some evidence to suggest that it may survive when somebody is clinically dead for a little bit, but we don't know whether it survives indefinitely. And I think if you can figure that out, that's an interesting, what is consciousness? Because also too, and I don't know if it's changed since then, but I was talking about this the other day, and I find it fascinating too, that although neurologists and doctors and scientists generally believe that consciousness is produced by the brain, I was reading a book by a doctor a few years ago that actually there is no concrete evidence that suggests that it is. We assume that it is. Like we can't somehow we can't measure it. Like there's certain things we can measure, but we can't reproduce. There's something, I got to go back and I have to read it, but I remember finding that was really fascinating. We all agree that it's likely because obviously, you know, I mean, that's where else is it going to come from? But it's not concrete. And that is really fascinating to me. So anyway, my film deals in that kind of like, you know, there's the horror side of it, but there's also the, well, hang on a sec here. Let's really figure this out. Like we can go around this marigold bush how many times of, ooh, ghosts, go, but we don't really discover anything. Let's find out if there's, what is this really all about? Because if you can find that out, then, you know.
I've got another cute little factoid. If you think about physics, energy cannot be destroyed. It only changes form. So I think when we leave our meat bodies, we change into another frequency that cannot be detected by others. And that's why people see ghosts, because maybe just for a second, they could detect another frequency and they could see, you know, what is floating around after the meat body is left behind.
I agree with that. I mean, the idea of frequencies and vibrations and I mean, you know, we can't, I mean, there are how many waves going through my studio right now that I can't see, you know, because they're on a different frequency and a wavelength that the human eye can't detect.
The only reason that you and I don't fall through our floor is because we are vibrating at the same time as everything around us is vibrating.
That's correct.
Because all we are is sound and light.
Yeah, there you go. Marian Sing, ladies and gentlemen. She'll be here all week. Tip your waitress on the way out. Nick sends in a $5 super chat and says, Marian, in all your years of horror movie watching, if you can recall, what's the scene that gave you the biggest scare, jump out of your seat reaction?
The Exorcist.
Ooh. What specifically in The Exorcist? A specific moment or the head turn?
I think, the head turn, I didn't care. The pea soup, I didn't care.
Did the power of Christ, did the power of Christ compel you? Or
oh man.
Well, it's funny you said The Exorcist, because as soon as he asked that question, I thought The Exorcist 3, and I'm sure everybody knows what scene I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, the nurse
in
scene.
The hospital. Yes.
Yeah. That's what gets everybody.
But you know, the original Poltergeist.
Oh, that's a great movie.
The original
Poltergeist 2 scared me more than
oh, I still see that creepy pastor guy. Oh, he was so skeletal. He was perfect. Oh,
Cain, I think was his name in the movie.
Reverend Cain.
God is in his holy temple.
That's right. Holy
Stop.
Yeah, it was very freaky. I'm gonna send you. I'm just gonna send you links with that over and over again. I'm just gonna send you those.
No. No.
Well, listen, guys, it's been a real awesome time talking to both of you, and I really appreciate you both coming on and sharing your stories and anecdotes and thoughts on this movie you guys are trying to get made and off the ground. It sounds really cool, really interesting. I like things that are different. It's not that I don't support people who are trying to do the other stuff. I do. I think it's amazing, but it's always cool when somebody comes along and is trying to get something off the ground that is, that might sound like bits and pieces of other films, but very rarely today are there, I mean, there's not necessarily new stories per se. I forget what the saying is. There's only like 7 plots or something like that in the world of storytelling. But there's many different ways that you can tell them, and I really like that you are telling a story that sounds really fascinating. Like I said, on paper, it doesn't matter, but I read, I'm like, oh, this is, I want to see this. I want to see this. And I think there's a lot of potential, and you're going about it the right ways. You're taking it seriously. You want to shoot it professionally, and by all accounts, it sounds like a really interesting project that people should think about supporting. And obviously, like I said, during my Indiegogo campaign, we recognize that because of the pandemic, times are tough and people are out of work or they're just getting back to work. But as I said in my campaign, I know you agree, and anybody who's ever launched a campaign has said this because it is true. Every little bit counts. And if, 500 people,
even a share, even a share on your
that's
social
right.
media page counts.
That's right. 100%.
The more people that hear about it, maybe there'll be more people interested that can give. And even if not, just spread the word, guys.
That's
Spread
it.
the word.
Yeah, that's what
Let's
it's really
hear it from
about.
the horror family, you know? Let's have our horror family come together and do it again.
I could not agree more. So we have Chris Baber. This will be the last super chat of the day. He says, Stacy, what's your favorite horror movie and what's your scariest horror movie? Also, how will Michigan finish this year in football?
Michigan's going to do great in football. I have no doubt there. Favorite horror movie, Halloween. Favorite, like, scariest horror movie, oh God. So the first Insidious really scared the shit out of me when I first seen it.
That's a good one.
The first two, actually. First two scared the shit out of me when I seen it, especially the second one. I saw that one in theaters.
Very cool. Yeah, I liked the first Insidious a lot, actually. It was, again, mood, atmosphere, slow burn.
I was pleasantly surprised by, it's hard to find something that scares me. It's hard to find anything that's actually scary, and I think they really accomplished that with that movie. So I was really surprised and happy with the fact that I was jumping and screaming while I was watching this movie.
There you go. Yep, perfect. That's a great answer and a good movie. Any last things you guys want to say before we skedaddle for the day, Marian and Stacy?
Well, I am on the usual places.
Oh, yes.
Marian
Yeah, where can
Sing.
people find you? Yeah, I should say that. Sorry. Where can people?
The People in the Trees.
Where can people
has its
stalk you?
own- Yeah, the people can stalk me. People in the Trees has its own Instagram. It has its own Facebook. It has its own Twitter. But I am found as Marian Sing, all one word, on Instagram, Facebook. I don't really do Twitter because, it's a lot. It kind of consumes your whole life,
It does.
But I also have a website, www.mariansing.com, if you want to see various, pictures of headshots and little acting class snippets of scene studies I've done and just interesting different stuff that you won't see anywhere else. But yeah, Marian Sing everywhere. It's just Marian Sing. That's me.
Yeah.
It's the same with me. It's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's just Stacy Langenkamp everywhere.
Do you have an underscore?
No underscore. No. Nope, just Stacy Langenkamp everywhere, all across the board.
With a K.
Yeah, with a K.
With a K.
Actually, when I was supposed to do Jeepers Creepers 3, and I was on one of the teaser posters that they done, they actually spelled my name with a C.
Well, I admit I had your name with a C too in the thumbnail that I first uploaded, and then I realized that it was with a K, so I changed it. Yeah, that was my fault. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for us here on episode 149 of MCRAE Live. Thank you very much, Marian Sing and Stacy Langenkamp, for coming on. I wish you the best of luck in your project. I can't wait to see this thing, whether it's fully funded, whether it's partially funded, whether it's half funded, whatever you guys, sometimes these things are a journey and a process. I'm excited that to see more video that comes out, more footage, and just to see where this thing goes. And I will also, put some links in the description or in a pin post to this episode for you guys as well. I'll put a link to the Indiegogo campaign and to the Facebook page as well, so people can check that out if they want. And I'll just put it at the top of the comment section as a pinned post. So, everybody, stick around, Marian and Stacy. I'll say goodbye to these people, but you'll still be there, and I'll say goodbye to you after we're off the air. Have a great rest of your Thursday. I should be back tomorrow. At least I'm thinking I should be back tomorrow, although with everything going on with Billy, it's you never know. It depends on what's going on. But I should be back, and hopefully my voice will be a little better as well. So, there's no Patreon card today. There should be, but for some reason I was updating it and I forgot to upload it into this thing, so it's not going to show up. So I'm just going to go to the title card. My apologies to all my patrons. I love you. I'm allowed to skip at least one. It was my mistake. I apologize. You'll be back tomorrow. All right, everybody. In the meantime, in between time, I will talk to you soon. Cheers.